You leave it the way it is. There have been very few complaints the way it is. People go, they use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
A radical Islamic terrorist targeted the nightclub, not only because he wanted to kill Americans, but in order to execute gay and lesbian citizens because of their sexual orientation. It's a strike at the heart and soul of who we are as a nation.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Believe me.
Do you support marriage equality?
It's irrelevant because it was already settled. It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court. I mean, it's done.
So even if you appoint a judge that...
It's done. You have, these cases have gone to the Supreme Court. They've been settled. And I think I'm fine with that.
On the campaign trail, Trump has been talking about what he plans to do if elected in November. And that includes rolling back the rights of millions of LGBTQ people. It's part of a wider playbook to undo many modern civil rights advances for minority groups. White House correspondent Laura Barron-Lopez has been following this, and she joins us now. Hi.
Hi.
So on LGBTQ rights, what has Trump said he wants to do?
Since launching his campaign, former President Donald Trump has targeted LGBTQ people, transgender people. He's attacked gender-affirming care for minors, as well as their ability to play in sports. And he says that he plans quick action if elected.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children.
That promise you just heard, William, has become a staple of former President Donald Trump's campaign rallies.
How much of that, though, is just campaign rally rhetoric? I mean, we know that that kind of language excites a certain slice of his base. How much of that is just him talking versus what he actually plans to do?
Well, it's not just campaign rhetoric, and his allies have drafted a sweeping document titled Project 2025.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before.
It's led by the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, and it details a blueprint for a second term for Trump, specifically on restricting LGBTQ rights. What that details is reinstating a transgender military ban, limiting LGBTQ workplace discrimination protections. Currently under the law, sexual orientation and gender identity are protected.
I think that the mass statement means be who you are and don't be afraid of being who you are. He cares for the community of all differences. He doesn't stand for political violence. He doesn't stand for racial injustice. More so, the thing with the trans child community in his executive order that you'll see that I've posted following this is that he doesn't want children to experience life-changing instances to where they could regret it, they can't go back, and there's nothing else that they could do except allow the side effects, the ups and downs, the mental anguish, the controversy of mental dysphoria, which then precludes differentiation in life altering decisions. You're a kid, grow up to be a kid. Your parents are there to support you, they're not there to allow you to suffer in difference from what's natural. Being natural is being a child. His general statement is stop the chemical and surgical mutilation of our children. Simply put, let the child grow. His executive order covers 19 years of age and under, and you'll see and read the executive order from itself through the White House webpage.
It would rescind healthcare protections for transgender people and urge Congress to define gender as male and female fixed at birth. Trump has repeatedly said also, William, that he would ban gender affirming care for minors. And
God bless you all. Thank you very much, everybody.
this playbook makes pretty clear that this plan also is trying to stop any and all acknowledgement of and acceptance of gender identity and LGBTQ people, period. And so
God bless you all. Thank you very much, everybody.
Throughout this blueprint, there's some pretty striking language where saying that government officials should only recognize marriage as between a man and a woman.
Do you support marriage equality?
It's irrelevant because it was already settled. It's law. It was settled in the Supreme Court. I mean, it's done.
And that a man and a woman are the ideal natural family structure. Also, in addition to that, William, Trump has outlined a number of policies that essentially help minority groups and that they would be on the chopping block.
Help minority groups. How does that put them on the chopping block? To want to annex them.
So when it comes to Project 2025 cuts to diversity, what the plan would do is delete diversity, equity, and inclusion from every piece of legislation, remove diversity, equity, and inclusion offices from federal agencies, curtail the teaching of race and racism, and urge Congress to ban federal funds for critical race theory training.
Exactly. And so if you want to delete these things from the educational system or the diversity of federal agencies or scholastic educational programs or from DEI training at Amazon, these things don't matter because there's no difference in equality or investment. We're all equal. There's no difference. Be gay, be lesbian, be bisexual, be transsexual.
Essentially, William Trump has vowed on the campaign trail to terminate all DEI programs.
Are all of those things that you listed, are those within the purview of the president? Can he legally just go ahead and do those?
Yes, he is the executor when it comes to making America great again. You have to outline the perspective of life. You have to outline what it is that we stand for as a nation. Personally, I don't think that DEI or race and racism should be brought into a classroom to teach what diversity includes. We all know our history. We send our children to school to learn our history as a nation, not to be told that you could be transgender and have pronouns, and if nobody pronounces you as such, then you get mad because your feelings are. You're going to school to learn things more educational than you should be gay because you say that you're gay. You should be bisexual because you like boys. You should live in a saucepan because you go bisexual gay. or straight or lesbian or transgender. None of that matters. You're going to school to learn the history of the nation. There is oppression, there is depression, there is sacrifice, World War One, World War Two, Mexican War, Revolutionary War is so much more valuable in teaching our children the history of our nation rather than saying, oh, you feel different sexually because you look in the mirror and you want long hair and boobs. Can't say that. You feel differently because when you look in the mirror, you don't feel happy. That's not what this is. That's not what our nation is founded upon. Go for it. Be what you want to be in your own house, your own bedroom, but don't freaking include this into walking down damn Main Street with the junk hanging out saying, oh, I support this flag. It's called indecent exposure. What happened to that? Where is that in our nation? Where has that gone? It's okay for certain people to have certain exclusions, but when a guy runs down the street with his shirt off and he has some overwhelming chest inflation and he gets 2 tickets, one for each side, that's equality. He's black, by the way.
Things.
So technically, this relies on Trump, if he is reelected, enacting a legal concept known as the unitary executive theory. And that's outlined in Project 2025. And
number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
And it essentially suggests that Trump could basically just work around or ignore congressional oversight. And we spoke to Kim Whaley. She's a law professor at the University of Baltimore, about Trump's ability to carry out Project 2025.
With Donald Trump, the question isn't so much what the law authorizes, it's that if he has an army of employees that are willing to be loyal to whatever he wants and they implement what he directs, then the question is there going to be pushback through Congress, through the courts, through the voters? If there's no accountability and pushback, then the answer to your question is yes. Then these things can happen because there's nothing to stop him.
As you heard Professor Whaley say there, this plan really relies on loyalists being installed across the board in government for him to be able to carry this out.
Across the country today, medical professionals are maiming and sterilizing a growing number of impressionable children under the radical and false claim that adults can change a child's sex through a series of irreversible medical interventions. This dangerous trend will be a strain on our nation's history, and it must end. Countless children soon regret that they have been mutilated and begin to grasp the horrifying tragedy that they will never be able to conceive children of their own or nurture their children through breastfeeding. This phrase, chemical and surgical mutilation, means the use of puberty blockers, including GnRH or other interventions to delay the onset of progression of normally timed puberty in an individual who does not identify as his or her sex. The use of sex hormones, such as androgen blockers, estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone, to align an individual's physical appearance with an identity that differs from his or her sex, and surgical procedures that attempt to transform an individual's physical appearance to align with an identity that differs from his or her sex. And this phrase sometimes is referred to as gender affirming care. education grants, and the chemical and surgical mutilation of children. They could still receive psychological care, but are no longer able to receive chemical or surgical mutilation. All attorney generals shall go down to section 8, subsection E, prioritize investigations and take appropriate actions to end child abusive practices by so-called sanctuary states that facilitate stripping custody from parents who support their healthy development of their own children, including by considering the application of Parental Kidnapping Prevention Act and recognize constitutional rights. Washington State Governor Bob Ferguson has implemented, along with Governor Inslee, have implemented this sanction into the schoolhouse educational facade. They are allowing 72 hours of notice to the parents after said which school counselor has provided them with a home for foster or a permanent home for separating the kids from the parents because the kids feel that the parents aren't aligning with what the kid is telling the parents. Washington State can take your child from you as a parent and give them to somebody else because you're not following what the kid wants. That's overreach by government, in my view. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Within 60 days of this date of this order, the heads of agencies with responsibilities under this order shall submit a single combined report to the Assistant to the President for Domestic Policies, detailing progress in implementation of this order and at a timeline for future actions. The Assistant to the President for Domestic Policies shall regularly convene the heads of the agencies with responsibilities under this order to coordinate and prepare for this submission. Section 11. General Provisions. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or the function of the director of office of management and budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. B. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. C. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any part against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other personnel. He's not telling the LGBTQ plus IA community that you cannot be you. This executive order is directed towards the chemical or surgical mutilation of people 19 years and younger.
Thank you all very much. Happy 4th of July. God bless you all. Thank you very much, everybody.